All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. It's that time again. We're going to check in with Family Council's Ken Yang. He's on the line. Ken, how are you this morning, man?
Oh, not too bad. It's a little cold, but not too bad.
I'll ask you what a guest last hour asked me. Christmas shopping. Are you all finished?
I am not. It's time to test out Amazon's uh, the 2-day delivery policy.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Hey, you know what?
uh,
We get to pay that sales tax though, so I mean, we're really contributing to society. So that's the good thing.
uh, I swear. I mean, anyway, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, sorry.
Brick and mortar stores were closing before the internet existed. I'll just put it at that.
Okay, okay. All right. So Ken, I see that this blog post, familycouncil.org, Wisconsin Atheists Bully Arkansas School District. What can you tell me about this?
Yeah, little late last week, it was kind of not didn't make a lot of news, but Pea Ridge Public Schools uh, suspended public prayer at school board meetings and at ball games because they got a complaint from that atheist group based in Wisconsin. And I think it's our opinion that the school district got really bad advice from their attorneys. I think if you read the article, their attorney has advised them to do this. And time and time again, the U.S. Supreme Court has upheld prayer before city council meetings and meetings of that sort because it really doesn't violate the Establishment Clause, and you got multiple court cases to back that up, and I think the biggest thing I tell people is, they're always threatening, just threatening, and for the most part, not to say that they haven't ever filed a lawsuit, but for the majority of the time, if people, school districts, city councils would just stand their ground and say, no, we're going to keep praying, or no, we're going to keep doing this or advertising this, they do not file a lawsuit. They do not have the ability to file hundreds of lawsuits. I mean, they're literally threatening hundreds, if not thousands, of school districts and organizations across the nation. They don't have the ability to go after each one of them. All they do is just print up a letter and send it to these people.
So I mean, you're saying that we shouldn't take the Freedom from Religion Foundation
No, I mean
serious.
they threatened the Harrison Public School District back in 2017, and the school district decided to keep praying. They didn't do anything. They threatened Governor Hutchinson's over his Bible verses on Sundays. Governor Hutchinson keeps posting. They try to threaten the city of El Dorado over its 40 Days of Prayer campaign back in 2016, and they stood firm. And so you'll see a lot of these places that have stood firm. They just the people with the atheist group, they don't have that ability to do so. And the law is on our side too, and so that's what's troubling for some of these leaders in our local school districts or municipalities. They're not willing to stand up for what's right.
Yeah, I think is this Freedom from Religion Foundation? Yeah, all the way back in 2011. Just to kind of give you even more context, because I covered this story. There was the Greene County School District. There was a teacher that put up a nativity scene on a bulletin board. You know how the teachers do with it. They have like the oh, I don't know what's it, the border around, and then a nativity scene. And they got a letter. This was back in 2011. They got a letter from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, and the school went ahead and allowed the nativity scene. I mean, so they ignored it, and they were worried they were going to get sued. But that's a valuable piece of information. So in terms of they file thousands or they send thousands of letters, and they don't have the money to actually take any of these to court or all of them to court. So Ken, do you think this Fort Smith, or I'm sorry, the Pea Ridge Public Schools, do you think they're going to reverse course and start to pray again before school board meetings?
I haven't heard otherwise. We've encouraged people living in that area to, contact their school board people, contact the school district to, encourage them. And for instance, what if if they do sue or they do take them to court? There are plenty of Christian defense groups that will come to the aid of these school districts, as they've done so in the past in other places. And so, the laws are on our side, and there are people willing to help on our side. And, we have religious freedom here in the state of Arkansas and here in the nation, but, most importantly here in the state of Arkansas. And people shouldn't be afraid to exercise that. And especially ones that, you were saying in an earlier segment of people saying that they don't want to bring a church to government. And there's a huge difference. I encourage people to read de Tocqueville's Democracy in America. There's a huge difference between separation of church and state and separation of religion and state. Two totally different things.
Can you elaborate on that? And how do you see the difference?
Well, your church is a established organization. It's establishment. Brick and mortar, and almost an establishment type rules. Might even stretch to say, how kind of like the Islamic faith, where it's a way of life.
Right.
While religious liberty is obviously all-encompassing. Our background is from Judeo-Christian values, and so you take those morals and the things that are good within a religion. Some people may think it's a different religion than Christianity, and they bring that. That's the basis of who they are. They bring that to government. They're not in government. They bring it to work, whether they're a doctor or attorney or so on and so forth. And so to say that you can't bring something that's core within you is just totally false.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're professing to be a Christian, then you don't stop being a Christian when you're on the school board or when you're a state rep or when you're a teacher or a ball player or so on and so forth.
That's very well said. We're talking with Family Counsel's Ken Yang. Now, did you mention, because I'm reading in this article up at familycounsel.org, again, first of all, folks, if you're just joining us, the Pea Ridge Public School System, they got a letter from the Freedom from Religion Foundation threatening them with a lawsuit. And so in response, they suspended public prayer at school board meetings and at ball games. And so you just heard Ken saying that the attorneys gave the school board some really lousy advice. In 2014, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that praying before the city council meetings did not violate the Establishment Clause. And then I didn't realize this. Did you mention that the Freedom from Religion Foundation successfully earlier this year bullied schools in the Greenwood School District, to stop promoting events like See You at the Pole just to promote it?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes. So they once again sent a letter to the Greenwood School District telling them to stop promoting events like See You at the Pole. They even did so. I think the Springdale Public Schools, they persuaded them, or I would say bullied them, to remove a cross that was reportedly displayed in the lunchroom at one of the elementary schools. And so, they really do, and I've never seen one of the letters, but they really do a good job of scaring, whether it's the Greenwood School District or the Linda Childers Knapp Elementary School in Springdale, to kind of backtrack on celebrating religion.
Tell me about the Freedom from Religion Foundation complaining about Arkansas's public schools allowing students to study the Bible academically. They don't like that, right?
No, they don't. And so what was it, a few years ago, the legislature decided that was the state book. Then it decided that we could teach the Bible, and then last year a curriculum was created for school districts to use. And they go through the fact that it's religious text, and that it's even if the students are studying it academically, they think that it's still promoting one particular type of religion and attempt to indoctrinate the next generation. But as we all know, the Bible is being taught academically, and you take out religion altogether, it's one of the oldest texts in existence in human history, and we study things like that all the time in school.
I mean, I'm going down this list here. Folks, you've got to check this article out at familycouncil.org. So this same group, they threatened law enforcement that had In God We Trust on their police cruisers. They remember what they did to the A-State football players. They had that was crazy. They had tragic loss of their teammates, and they put like a cross on the back of the helmet, and they complained to Arkansas State, you can't have a cross on the back of the helmet. I mean, these folks just want to control literally every aspect of society, and really it's a freedom of speech issue in a way as well.
Yes, it's the First Amendment issue, and to put it in a religious term, Satan and the devil, they're constantly on the move to ruin the fabric of the moral fabric of our society.
No, I completely agree with that. Tell me about what the Family Council does when it comes to married couples. You guys are looking for the longest married couple, right?
Yeah, so every year I think we announce this back in November, and we'll probably do a more official announcement this week. We look for Arkansas's longest married couple every year, and we celebrate them in Little Rock. Usually it's done at the governor's mansion. Sometimes it's done off-site. It just depends. And we try to celebrate them in late February or early March. And so we look for anyone that's been married that currently lives in Arkansas, has been married for over 70 years, and we celebrate the number one longest married couple, and then we celebrate the top 10. And we just kind of, I tell everybody, as you get, people tell me all the time, as you get older, there's less people celebrate. When you're young, you're sweet 16, 18th birthday, 21st, getting engaged, getting married, your first kid, all that other stuff. And when you get older, people forget. And so to celebrate marriage, to celebrate these people that have been married for over 70 years, to see the smiles on their faces, to be able to come to Little Rock, go to the governor's mansion, to meet the governor and the first lady. I mean, they just love it. And it's something, in my opinion, very non-controversial to celebrate the fact that people are still living today that have been married. I think last year was 79 years.
That's awesome. 79 years of marriage.
Yep.
Wow.
And so people, if you know of anyone, people can, email me at ken@familycouncil.org and, submit their information, and we'll put them on a list, and we'll keep in constant contact. And once entries close in February, we'll let people know who the top 10 is again this year.
Wow. Who's the longest? I'm not going to ask it. I was going to ask who. Never mind. another. Considering the Hallmark controversy. Anyway, Ken Yang, I appreciate you coming on, sir. Thank you so much for being with us.
No problem. Appreciate it.
Okay, Ken Yang, familycouncil.org.